What's up, Jaden Bulldolls, Talk a World viewers? And tonight, this evening, we are going to be reacting to a video from Style Theory. POPFLEX just can't catch a break. Let's see what this video will be about. And make sure to comment, like, and subscribe if you are new to Jaden Bulldolls, Talk a World. Make sure to press that bell icon so you can be notified when we post and upload videos. And we sometimes go live on YouTube, so make sure to have that bell icon on at all times so you can get notified when we're live as well. And let's see what this video is about. Looks interesting.
Yeah, it really does, and also it seems like they really can't get a break.
Yeah, true.
Also, we said we were gonna go live, but we never did. But we can go live after this reaction or tomorrow morning.
We can go live tomorrow morning.
Make sure to wake up at 8 p.m. 8 a.m. this time.
Okay, I will.
Anyway, if you like to react, you know what, let us get into it. 3, 2, 1, and let go.
Wait, they are going to fine me $250,000. Excuse me, what?
Well, that's a lot, at least.
That is a lot.
Hey, at least it isn't like 20,000 a dollar.
Yeah, true, but still, that is a lot. And why are they, they're copying her, not, But okay, whatever. Well, let's get into the video.
What? Yeah, the everyone is stealing from POPFLEX saga just got even crazier. Hello Internet, welcome to Style Theory, the show that's ready to pop on these big bad brands. And yes, if my voice sounds weird, it's because I'm sick. But not too sick to talk about this sick situation. Once again, someone is trying to take advantage of a small independent brand known as POPFLEX. This is the athleisure brand that you have likely seen come across your Instagram or TikTok feeds at some point. And it's owned by friend of the channel and soon-to-be two-time Creators in Fashion runway participant, Cassie Ho, aka Blogilates. But despite that, we do try to remain very unbiased on this channel whenever we cover a topic. However, since this is the third time that we are covering this copyright saga, I do feel like I just have to kind of come out and say this. This girl cannot catch a break. First, she had the design of her patented
Sounds like
pirouette skirt stolen by Shein not once, but twice. Then, most recently, she learned that a company called Gotex has been selling another suspiciously similar skirt at multiple brick-and-mortar stores.
One where I found out that Nordstrom Rack was selling a straight-up dupe of my patented pirouette skirt, also being sold at TJ Maxx, Marshalls, and some store called Beals.
I think it's actually pronounced.
I haven't been to the grocery store in months because this delivery service offers hundreds of high-quality, non-GMO groceries and recipes that...
Well, guess what? I haven't been to where they skip commercials in months, because that is what I'm doing.
I think it's actually pronounced Bells, but you know what? Not the point here. Back to the legal stuff. By the end of our last episode, Cassie and Nordstrom were at a bit of a crossroads. Cassie had extended an olive branch saying, hey, just stop selling the dupe, sell my product instead, and we can just let bygones be bygones. To which Nordstrom totally said yes. Everyone made a bunch of money. It was happily ever after. Just kidding. Hey Siri, play This Is Why We Can't Have Nice Things by Taylor Swift. Yeah, instead of meeting in the middle, Cassie has basically been going through a legal pinball machine, bouncing back and forth and back and forth and back and forth between all involved parties. And once she did get a response, it was pretty much the worst response that she could have gotten.
Get this NDA. It says that I am not allowed to to talk about this story, and that if I do post, that they are going to fine me $250,000.
I have to admit, that was a plot twist I did not expect. Now, there's a lot more to the story, and it's all putting Cassie, her company, and her brand in a very complicated spot. Gotex is basically trying to pull an Ursula and get Cassie to sign away her voice. But should she? I mean, is Gotex even legally able to do this? And is there anything that Cassie can do to end this once and for all? Or is she doomed to drown in red tape forever? Let's break this whole thing down and find out if maybe, just maybe, there is actually a light at the end of this copyright tunnel. The first thing that we need to do is figure out how we went from $0 to $250,000 in the first place. Before posting her first video and a series of Instagram stories discussing the situation, Cassie had been pretty radio silent on the whole thing, despite all the tags and questions from fans who were finding these pirouette skirt dupes in stores.
You guys also showed me receipts of that exact Gotex dupe.
During that time, she and her company were working to find a resolution that wouldn't end up in a huge lawsuit. But instead, she says she ended up just being bounced around for months.
And essentially, it's been a game of hot potato where I'm the potato being tossed around from lawyer to lawyer, corporation to corporation, between the retailer, the vendor, and the manufacturer.
And with no power to make them give her the time of day,
Can you pause the video for a sec?
Mm-hmm.
I hope that Cassie comes out victorious and that she and her brand don't have to deal with this whole entire dilemma again for a fourth time, because this has been going on for like 3 times now. This is the 3rd time. They should really give Cassie and her company a break.
Yeah, I think, they deserve a break.
Okay, continue.
They turned to the one place where she held all the power, social media.
Did you really think that by threatening to sue me that you'd actually shut me up?
Now, I can't speak for them, but I can hazard a guess that, yeah, they did. And it worked. After months and months of nothing, Cassie finally got a response from Gotex's lawyers. And you are not ready to hear this. No, really, take a breath with me. Okay, let's go.
Want to hear what the Gotex lawyer actually wrote me instead of apologizing for infringing my patent? Since Gotex did not design, manufacture, or sell any of the products that are alleged to infringe the patent.
Pause. As we discussed in our last episode, these dupes were being sold under the Gotex brand on the websites of these stores. And when there were photos of these dupes found in stores, they had the Gotex tags on them.
It literally says, products offered by Gotex are one-of-a-kind creations. I'm so confused. Like, should I believe the lawyers or the...
We are looking for gamers who want to learn how to become video game testers, designers, or programmers. If any of these interest you, then swipe to the left to see if you qualify.
This game design program has no application deadlines, meaning you can start classes soon. And it's offered at an accelerated pace, meaning you can graduate sooner.
I graduated from this commercial.
So confused. Like, should I believe the lawyers or the hang tag?
Now here's the thing. If Gotex had responded and said something like, hey, bye guy, despite the small amount of visual similarities between our two squirts, I didn't actually infringe on your patent. We good, bro? We would be having a completely different conversation right now. Gotex has every right to try and claim that. Try being the key word. They would still likely have to prove at some point that it didn't violate Cassie's patent. But to be like, nah, we didn't even make that product? Like, whose name is on the website? Whose name is on the tag? Is it hot in here? Oh, one sec. Sorry, I forgot to turn off my gas light. It really makes it hot in here. What was he saying? Cassie, wanting this whole situation to just be done and over, sent a settlement agreement to Gotex to finally put the drama to bed. With the help of her lawyers, of course, because you should always use a lawyer. Not that I think that you are going to go into some big legal battle with a giant corporation, but if you do, use a lawyer. Anyway, I know a settlement agreement can sound pretty serious and scary, but from a legal perspective, it's pretty normal. Not a big deal. This is basically the legal equivalent of Cassie going, hey bestie, I don't want to go through this whole big legal drama, so just stop selling the skirt, pay me a fair royalty, and we'll just be done with this. Okay? To which Gotex said, of course, bestie, got you, right? Wrong. Hey Siri, play Denial is a River by Doechii. Yeah? No, they didn't do that. In fact, they did the opposite of that and did something that no one really could have expected to happen. They didn't accept, reject, or even counter Cassie's settlement. Instead, they sent over a non-disclosure agreement, or NDA, that Cassie must sign before they'll even continue the conversation. Listen, NDAs are pretty common.
Also, just wanted to say thank you, everyone. Now I am at 95 subscribers on this YouTube channel. Thanks to everyone.
And in any place where a lot of sensitive information is going to be exchanged. I've signed plenty of NDAs in my day, and it's not really a huge deal. However, this NDA is not that. It isn't trying to keep everyone locked in. It's trying to keep Cassie and her voice locked down. According to Cassie's video, this document states that should she sign, Cassie cannot talk publicly about any of these negotiations. And if she does, she will be fined $250,000. Yes, $250,000 just for talking about the situation. Needless to say, Cassie didn't sign, and for good reason. In this scenario, Gotex is requiring Cassie to sign this NDA in order for the negotiations to continue, or start for that matter. Up until the posting of her first video response, Gotex hasn't exactly appeared willing to talk by Cassie's account. So who's to say that should Cassie sign this NDA in good faith, that doing so will open this previously closed door, that Gotex won't just turn around and continue to deny that they are at fault. Again, in this fictitious scenario, Cassie would have signed away her one way of fighting back against these big corporations, her voice. She would be well and truly Ursula. Say it with me, friends. Do not make the same mistakes as the Little Mermaid. And if anything has been true during this whole POPFLEX copyright saga, whether it was with Shein, Nordstrom, or Gotex, Cassie's voice is her biggest weapon. And Gotex is making a big claim against anything and everything Cassie has used her voice to say. They are claiming defamation. Dun dun dun. You see, that little letter that Gotex sent included a very interesting request.
We request that your client remove all defamatory remarks that she has published.
But that's not all. According to the screenshots of the letter from Cassie's video, they also requested that Cassie refrain from encouraging others to defame Gotex. This is likely due to the large backlash from Cassie's fans, both towards Gotex and the stores carrying their skirts. And they cap this all off by saying, while Gotex has so far resisted exercising its legal rights in this matter, that patience does not extend forever. Now, legally, all I can say about that is, oof. Patience aside, what we actually need to pay attention to from this letter are these two little words, defame and defamatory. Defamation is when someone says or transmits, like, posting online, a statement about someone else that is one, false, and two, hurts that person's reputation. But is that actually what Cassie's doing with her videos and her posts? Let's look a little closer. Generally, the courts in the U.S. look for 4 criteria to determine if defamation has actually taken place. 1, you have to say or post the alleged defamatory remarks to some sort of third party. Which, yes, Cassie's Instagram with over 3.2 million followers would count as. The second is whether what was said is actually damaging to someone's reputation or causes them some sort of harm. Which, considering how Gotex has had to shut off comments on its Instagram and how Nordstrom has been flooded with tons of angry messages, could be argued here. And even if that wasn't the case, most states argue that if you accuse someone of a crime or corrupt act, like say stealing or infringing on a patent, it pretty much checks the cause harm box automatically. Things are not looking so great for Cassie. She is currently 0 for 2 on all accounts, which means it all comes down to our final 2 points. And this is where it starts to get a little, complicated. In order to prove defamation, Gotex would also have to show that Cassie's statements were really false, and that she either knew they were false or was negligent in determining if they were false. Most of the time when you state your opinion, whether it's good or bad, you are not committing defamation, even if that opinion is based on something false. But when you start to say things that are false, that appear or claim to be fact, that is when you start to get into some legal trouble.
That's true.
Legally speaking, there is a big difference between saying, I think Gotex is infringing on my patent, and saying Gotex is infringing on my patent. But that's only if the statement is false. If it was found that Gotex did infringe on Cassie's patent, then there would be no case for defamation. Listen, you can go damage someone's reputation as much as you want, as long as the things that you're saying are actual facts. Only problem is that you and I can't actually determine if Gotex really stole from Cassie's design, despite how obvious the answer might seem based on the photos. The only one who can legally decide that is the courts. Which brings me to the final point I want to talk about today. What happens now? As of the time that I'm recording this episode, which is August 29th, 2025, this is where we stand. Cassie asked for a settlement, Gotex sent the NDA, and Cassie said in no uncertain terms,
Let me tell you one thing. The more you tell me to shut up, the louder I'm going to yell. So, no, I'm never going to sign your stupid NDA. You're never going to silence me, and you can't buy me for any amount of money.
To be honest, there are so many different ways that this situation could go. One party could kneel to the other, they could sit in a stalemate for literal years, or they could go into business together and everyone could live happily ever after. Highly unlikely, but hey, it could happen. Yet, despite all of those possibilities, there does seem to be just one most likely outcome. And this is where I want to remind you that despite knowing all the words to Legally Blonde the movie and the musical by heart, I am not actually a lawyer, and this is not actually legal advice. Okay. At this moment, Cassie is in a stalemate with Gotex. If she signs the NDA, she loses her biggest way to fight back and move the needle on this whole situation. Remember, she went through months of no solid responses until she posted her video, and Gotex has no incentive to accept Cassie's settlement. This, at least from this non-lawyer's point of view, leaves Cassie with only one real option: sue Gotex. Let me be crystal clear about this. A lawsuit is the last thing anyone in this situation should actually want to happen. It comes with huge risks, both professionally and personally. If Cassie won, it's unlikely that the money she'd get from Gotex would cover her legal fees. And if she lost, not only would Cassie end up paying damages to Gotex, but it would open up her business to more and more copyright infringement with no way of fighting back. Because in the end, that is what all of this comes down to. How infringing is the infringement? Cassie has fought back against dozens of dupes, and those are only the ones that we know of. And she did it all with the power of her patent. If she went to court and lost this case to Gotex, the truth is that suddenly that patent becomes nothing more than a fancy piece of paper against all the other would-be dupes out there, past, present, and future. But trying to avoid it is what landed us here. Remember when I said that despite all the possibilities, there really only seemed like one plausible option? Well, in all likelihood, a court is probably never going to rule on whether or not Gotex actually infringed on POPFLEX's design. Why? Around 98% of all civil cases in the US end in a settlement long before they ever go to trial. More often than not, the two sides find a way to work out some sort of agreement to end the lawsuit before it goes to the hands of a judge or jury. Which is what makes this situation so infuriating. Because, according to Cassie, she offered Gotex a settlement agreement, which is the exact same place that we would be if they had gone through with the lawsuit and gone through the courts in the first place. So, the question is, how do you break a stalemate that seems unbreakable? Well, Cassie should do what she has been doing, which is stay patient and let her voice, the voice of her fans and followers and fellow creators, fan the fire under Gotex's pot. If Cassie never signs, and let's be real, she's pretty much said she never will, the only way that Gotex comes out of this situation with any sort of good reputation is to come to the table and make a deal. Hey Siri, play Good Luck Babe by Chapel Roan. But hey, that's just a theory. A style theory. Keep looking sharp. Up next on Style Theory. Come.
I love when they say that at the end. Though.
Me too.
That does really go good with these videos.
Companies are ready to steal your face to sell their products, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. Or is there?
That reaction, 10 out of 10.
I'm getting tired of you always liking on my reactions.
I can't help it.
If you like the reaction, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, tell us what you want us to react to next. I really did. This was a good episode.
Okay. Well, I have to go eat dinner.
Okay. Also, until next time, stay tuned for more content. Jaden Bordeaux. And we are out.